Did you see, and I don't know how much of it you would have based on the timing, the Max Caster story, controversy, for lack of a better term?
I want you to fill me in on some of this because I have been sent the recap in the Uncle Dave's Wrestling Observer, but nobody, and I know about the controversy, but nobody has yet told me what this guy actually said. In an actual quote of what he said, so that I can make my own decision about how crazy he was. And then the fact is, we'll get into in a minute, that they aired it first. So do you have what he said? What'd he say?
I do. Do I have to read this?
Well, yes, because this is, I mean, if it's, we're not making up unsavory shit just to say it like we've got Tourette's. Fuck. We're reporting verbatim on what this guy said on a nationally, well, not nationally broadcast, it was on YouTube, but what he said on their program that was broadcast out to people that got people stirred up. I don't want you to add anything, don't subtract anything. Read it like that Mike Tenay used to read Shitstain's TV formats in the production meeting in TNA, just in a monotone voice and no judgmental. He would just sit there and just read it monotone without any judgmental effects in his voice or eye rolls or whatever, and it made it sound even stupider that way. So what'd he say?
Well, once again, for those of you unfamiliar, Max Caster is a young wrestler and a rapper in AEW, a part of a tag team called The Acclaimed, and he comes out and does his rapping on the way to the ring. Usually it begins with, yo, 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 yo. And then after 4 yo's, maybe he gets the flow right and he gets going. So this rap...
And he says some very pointed things, some of the witty things he comes up with. What do the kids say? He's spitting the rhymes, and he pushes the envelope. He's very edgy, apparently.
So apparently on the 100th episode of Dark, which again airs on YouTube, that was taped in Charlotte, North Carolina before the big Dynamite taping, The Acclaimed, which is Caster and his partner Anthony Bowens, they were going to be in a match, an 8-man match, and on the other side were the Seidel's and the Varsity Blondes with Julia Hart as their manager. Here was the rap. The Acclaimed kicking ass for miles, make you claim mental health like Simone Biles. The Seidel's gonna pay the cost. I'm gonna treat those bitches like Duke Lacrosse.
Oh!
The Blondes say they're the best, but those dudes are faker than a PCR test. And what's that smell here in North Carolina? Oh, wait, that's just Julia's, and that's where Anthony Bowens grabs the mic to prevent him from saying the word vagina on YouTube.
Well, at least he should have got there about 2 lines previously, and all this would have been under control.
Now, once again, just to the earlier point to clarify, this did not go out live. This was something taped and went out after the fact. Yeah.
I'm about to get there. As far as the content, I like the Simone Biles reference because it's newsworthy. It's happening right now. He's not, trying to verbally disembowel the young lady. She had issues. She's a world-class athlete, had a lot of pressure put on her. What?
I don't think you can look at it that way because part of see, this is what makes it so uncomfortable.
Hold on one second. I would just let me finish to say, but she had a lot of pressure put on her. And as an athlete, high level in anything, once you can't see it in your head, once you doubt yourself, then you're in trouble. So she pulled herself out of the thing for a while, but it's a fucking topical line. You
can't do it though, because why did she pull herself out? Why was she having all these issues over there? It wasn't just because she was the face of USA Gymnastics. It's because she had been molested by their doctor, Larry Nassar or whatever his name was. That's what messed her up. So when you make this comment about Simone Biles...
I have not had that fucking line drawn for me. I thought she'd lost her confidence and fucking got too much pressure on her from being called the biggest star in the history of the Olympic Games and just cracked up a little bit. I didn't know it was from the doctor that had molested the gymnastics team whenever the fuck a few years ago. But regardless, I'm saying I didn't fucking see that thing as that line is a big deal. But the Duke Lacrosse fucking treat them bitches like Duke Lacrosse. That's actually, it turned out not to be legitimate rape, but actually a false accusation, but a big fucking stink. That didn't need to be in there, in my opinion. And then at the end of it, poor old Julia Hart, she's such a smiley little girl. What's she, like 19 years old?
Yeah.
I don't think, just for fucking YouTube, I don't think you necessarily need to go there. But I didn't have a problem with the Simone Biles line because that was topical and newsworthy. I probably would have done the same thing, not knowing about the diddling going on from the doctor.
Yeah, see, that would have prevented me from even bringing her name into the conversation. There's no benefit to it whatsoever. But again, this went out on AEW Dark, which airs on YouTube. And then once people heard this comment, heard this rap, people were outraged, and rightly so.
Well, but this is where it starts to get familiar to me. Because like you said, this wasn't live television. This wasn't even live YouTube. This wasn't live anything. They taped it, they put it in the can, and somebody aired it. Now, as I mentioned a couple of years ago when I had a similar situation with the NWA, if it was on live TV, people were upset, it's the talent's fault. But any television program that I have ever aired, that I have ever been in charge of, 200 episodes of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, 300 episodes of Ohio Valley Wrestling, 60-something episodes of Ring of Honor Wrestling, anything that didn't go out live, that was on tape, that I blessed on the program that I was in charge of, if anybody had anything to say about it, it was my fault. Whether I was on the show or not, because it was my fucking show. That's the difference. If your talent fucks up live, then you can be hot at them. If they fuck up on tape, you got to be hot at yourself, or elsewise, fuck you, right? Which is basically the conversation in a nutshell that I had with old Liver Lip Lagana. But you can't just pick selectively. Well, I listened to it and blessed the show and the final cut and thought it was fine, and I didn't get upset, but a lot of other people got upset, so fuck this guy. No, fuck you. If it's fucking questionable, take it out. If you don't think it's questionable, then stand by it. But they didn't either. They didn't stand. They took it out, but they didn't stand by it. No,
they did not. Did you see Tony Khan's quote about the whole ordeal?
I did not see a quote from Tony Khan.
We'll go back to this in a second. I'll read you this quote. This is from an interview. What is it? Busted Open Radio. He did an interview. He's talking about the rap. I was not out there at the moment when he did it. It was not during Dynamite. I was out back when Max said this rap. I had not heard it until last night, truthfully. In the editing process, it should have been caught. We deleted the episode and reposted it with that edited out, but it should not have aired. I put such tight controls on Dynamite. I put such tight controls on Dynamite.
Wait a minute. You mean that the shit that's on Dynamite has to pass through tight controls?
I put such tight controls on Dynamite. And this would never have happened there because Max's raps, I have always gone over them with him. And frankly, every segment on Dynamite, I don't script or write wrestlers' promos, but the bullet points I give. In this case, it shouldn't have happened. What will happen going forward?
Wait a minute, he didn't give the rapper bullet promos on his rap, does he?
He said he goes over the rap usually with him beforehand, but he didn't.
Well, that's that going over it is. What are you going to say, Max?
I can't imagine he's giving the rapper bullet points.
Yeah, but
there's a little bit more.
Who edited the show? Sounds like that's who we ought to be mad at.
What will happen going forward is I will be taking over the editing of Dark and Elevation myself.
Well, he needs more to do.
I was already editing Dynamite and Rampage, and I do a lot, and now I will also be editing Dark and Elevation. It's unfortunate that it came to that. Well, it sounds like he's kind of slamming someone without slamming them, and then just saying, I already do all this, now I'm going to do this too, and it's your fault.
Yeah, but at least in this case, it was the person making the apology was not the exact same person that aired the program. In my case, the person apologizing for me was also the one who edited and aired the program. So at least Tony slipped that out. But I got to be honest now. We know that Uncle Dave is awful complimentary about the folks over at All Petite Wrestling. And, I got to think that this is where he would draw the line, right? And make a stand on this kind of unsavory behavior. Because after all, I put out a fucking recycled 35-year-old Evel Knievel joke on YouTube for the NWA, and he wrote a 2.5-page obituary on my career that it was over. Uncle Dave, being Nostradamus, signaled an end to my professional career the exact year before I had my largest financial year in history. So he's got a roll going. So certainly he must be calling for Max Caster's head on a spike, and his career is completely over, and he should have known not to do something like this. I believe that's one of the things he said about me. He said, Cornette should have known in this day and age, in this environment, not to tell a joke like that. So certainly a young man like this Max Caster that's hooked up to all the modern happenings and the trends of the day, not like an old guy like me. When I said the joke, I wondered, I wonder if anybody will get this. I wonder if they're still hungry over there. But Max Caster, being a young man, knows all this stuff. He should know what to say and what not. So did Uncle Dave declare that his career is over? You know the answer to that, Brian.
Unfortunately, you know the answer too. And despite, like we said, there are a number of similarities in the two situations, I will be surprised if Max Caster does not somehow drop the name Lagana into one of his raps going forward about how he's edited. But there are a lot of similarities.
Let's hear what Uncle Dave had to say about Max Caster, whether he wrote his obituary, his professional obituary. As for the rap itself, it was taped on 7/28 in Charlotte before 7,000 fans, and absolutely no controversy whatsoever took place. We didn't hear a word about it from multiple correspondents, nor was it a social media story at all. It aired unedited, which did lead to controversy. Wait, we didn't hear a word about it from multiple correspondents, nor was it a social media story at all. But after it aired, it led to controversy to the point, well, I guess it's hard to have controversy about it before it aired. But after it aired, it led to controversy to the point AEW took down the episode and put it back up with the rap edited out, which made it an even bigger story. Boy, this sounds familiar. Show airs, nobody says anything till everybody gets on Twitter, doesn't like something, and then it becomes a big story. This led to people trying to get AEW to fire Caster. Apparently, that surge of people was led by Liver Lip, who don't want the trend to get started there. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. More about the Duke lacrosse case. It probably wouldn't have been used by Caster because it's a case most have forgotten about, except they were in Charlotte and Duke is in Durham, North Carolina, which is about 180 miles from Charlotte. So that's like me talking about a famous Atlanta history happening over in fucking Birmingham, Alabama. But anyway, ironically, Charlotte was where, if there was outrage, it would have come from. No, it would have probably come from fucking Duke in Durham. And nobody said a word. In social media, it became magnified. Caster's raps are always about pushing buttons and doing remarks that some would find tasteless.
Not like you.
Not like me at all. And the same rap included a line about what Julia Hart smells like. Which, once you start examining everything in comedy and every line of a rap, you can be offended by it. That said, in this case, the line was stupid. Tony Khan, who wouldn't say anything about Jericho versus Gage because of the sensitive nature of Domino's being a big sponsor of Warner Media, did comment on this and apologized and said the rap shouldn't have aired. But Max Caster, I guess, is fine. But meanwhile, those 35-year-old Evel Knievel jokes, Uncle Dave will write you a 2.5-page obituary. Thankfully, that led, as I mentioned, to my biggest success of my professional career. But yeah, I think poor Lagana, now we know where the fuck he hired on at. He's editing Dark. Isn't that, and actually, seriously, do we have to get racial on the names of the YouTube programs?
I do not think that's the intention.
That's another thing.
You know that.
People are going to be carrying signs about
stop
that
it.
soon.
Stop it.